Welcome to episode 53 of the Family Geekery Podcast. I'm Chris.
I'm Amber.
And Danny is busy this week, so it's just going to be a mini episode between Amber and I featuring Marvel Premiere issue number 1 from 1972 featuring the power of Warlock. So what do we know about Warlock, Amber? Why are we talking about Warlock?
Well, he was just in the Guardians of the Galaxy movie, introduced in Volume 2, but had a bit more to do with Volume 3. So we thought we'd give him a little bit of an episode, give him some love.
Yep. So this is a good time for timely discussion about Warlock and see what we can learn about him. But before we do that, let's talk about anything happening this past week.
Well, we had a lot happening, but not a lot of it was geeky related.
Yeah, a lot of family came in town for some special event.
Yeah, a little thing called a college graduation.
Congratulations to Amber.
Thank you.
And so that kept us busy, but yeah, so we're ready to rock and roll on this episode and hopefully have some more nerdy, geeky stuff to report to you next week. So we wanted to learn a little bit about Warlock since, like Amber said, he's in the Marvel movies, and all we know is that he's a gold person that flies through space and
with some epic eyebrows.
comes out of a cocoon. Are you speaking specifically of the character himself or the actor portraying him?
The actor portraying him, though maybe he should have played Namor because those eyebrows would have just fit right in.
Yeah, but we wanted to see what we could learn about Warlock, and that led me to this issue number 1 of Marvel Premiere, which has right on the cover a big old picture of Warlock with Thor and the Hulk fighting against him, and it says a man god reborn, and that's what we thought we were going to learn about. And this is kind of his first appearance as Warlock. He entered the comics back in Fantastic Four number 66 just as a character named Him, which was a creation, kind of a man-made creation being from some researchers called the Enclave. Of course, you get some evil scientists together, they create something, and I think he or him found out that they were creating him for evil ways, for evil purposes, and he rebelled against them and took off. So he disappeared for a while, and he comes back in this issue several years later. So what do we find out in this issue? We got an asteroid, looks like a frozen asteroid type thing floating through space.
Yeah, with a secret base inside.
Yeah, so the secret base has some dude all in a red armor. Kind of cool looking character.
Really cool looking character.
I'm like, who's this guy? I haven't seen this guy before. Maybe he's somebody completely new that we've never heard of.
Yeah, I mean, at first, they don't really say his name until later on in the comic, but he's talking about, creating people, creating races, and I'm like, oh, all right, this is cool. This is the High Evolutionary, I bet. Which we find out later on is, yes, it is the High Evolutionary. But he's a little bit different than portrayed in Guardians Volume 3.
He is full of himself, though.
Yes, that does not change.
And he starts off in this issue by kind of dictating his journal of the things that he's done and failed at, and preparation for this new thing that he wants to now document, his new creation. And he said that he's dictating it electronically to some tiny cassettes. Some tiny. So we get this super smart dude that's recording on little magnetic tapes that at the time were obviously the method of recording, but nowadays we know that's not exactly the most efficient way to record things, but
not super high tech, but high tech or current tech for the 70s, you said
Yeah.
this was?
Yep. And that's kind of it's neat throughout history to see where some piece of technology you just don't see the next evolution of it. Like I think when you see a TV show like Star Trek, back in the 60s, and they have some portrayal of the future, some of the things that they show actually happen. But then some of the things are just completely wrong. Like,
Well, we don't have teleporters.
well,
We can't beam up.
we're still waiting for the teleporters, but
Okay.
they didn't have smartphones. That would have helped them out a lot.
I would have.
But yeah, so he's talking, he's dictating about his dreams of the future and how he hopes to create a great and better place for all humankind. He talks about some of his failures, like the man beast. Had you heard of the man beast before?
No. Should I have?
Probably not. I'd heard of him, but I didn't know any of his backstory. I didn't know he was a
dog turned into a man beast.
failed attempt to make a more perfect human. But yeah, he went bad. Good thing Thor was there to keep him at bay. And talked about how he had some kind of machine. It didn't elaborate into it too much, but he had some kind of machine that was supposed to help evolve Bruce Banner into a better specimen, but he used it on himself instead.
Because he was like near death, so used it on himself and became immortal, I guess. Pretty much immortal.
Immortal, yeah. I think he was already smart, so I don't know if it made him any smarter, but made him stronger.
Made him more full of himself, maybe.
Sure. I like his sidekick.
Yeah, Rom.
Which is a ram of some sort, right?
Yeah, some sort of evolved ram.
So
He's cool,
Ram,
I like him.
spelled Raam. Ram.
Yeah, maybe that's it.
But yeah, so Ram's helping him out in this little spaceship asteroid thingy. And they stumble upon a weird-looking cocoon. He's like, hey, come on down to the bridge, basically, and come check out what's floating out there in space. What could possibly go wrong if we go ahead and just take this thing on board, right?
Yeah, just do it.
And it's a weird-looking cocoon.
Yeah, I thought it was like it looks like a tardigrade. I don't know, the water bears.
Yeah.
Yeah, it looks a little bit like that. Like some sort of weird caterpillar without legs. I don't know.
Yeah, those must be like propulsion devices on the sides or something.
Yeah.
Help this cocoon propel through space or something. But yeah, they go ahead and let's go ahead and take this thing, bring it on the ship. I think they made a whole movie like Aliens about this. Nothing could go wrong. And in the process, they start talking to this cocoon thing, but this gold figure is showing up on the screen. So I don't know if they're talking to him through the cocoon because he's not out of it yet. They're just kind of talking to, I don't know, communicating with it somehow. Is that what you gathered?
Yeah, I think they're talking to the cocoon, and then it says that the guy in the cocoon is, I guess, communicating into their thoughts.
Oh, it says and they're projecting it onto the megaviz.
Yeah, so they put him on the screen so they can see who's thinking into them.
There you go. That makes sense. And
that's technology.
He's got beautiful golden locks of hair.
Golden locks, golden skin.
And so now he's I don't know if he's diverted from his journal, but he's still telling the story now to Adam Warlock instead of the journal because he was interrupted by his buddy Ram. And he's telling Adam Warlock all the things that he wants to do. And I think Adam Warlock's like, okay.
Yeah, and in return, Adam Warlock kind of tells his backstory. You know, how he was made on Earth and fought Thor also. Everyone fights Thor, I guess. And then he just like got thrown into space by Thor in his cocoon because he couldn't beat Thor, so he cocooned himself off. Thor's like, "Oh, you coward!" Blasted him into space. So I guess now here we are.
So the High Evolutionary is talking about Project Alpha. So he wants to tell him all about Project Alpha, which is, it reminded me a lot. You probably never saw the movie, but Project Genesis was in the Star Trek movies. And it's been a million years since I've seen, I think it was either Star Trek 2 or Star Trek 3. But I think Spock dies, and probably in 2, and then they use Spock's body to create a new perfect world, which is Project Genesis, which makes a lot more sense than Project Alpha, but I guess both of them kind of work. So it reminded me of that. So he's got a little tiny piece of Earth, and he's going to use that basically as a seed to create a new version of Earth. And
maybe a counter Earth.
Yeah, and he promises this one will work.
This one will be perfect.
There won't be any silly coyote man beast things that can trouble him.
Nothing will mess it up. Nothing at all.
And he talks about how Earth, started off fine, but then as soon as men started fighting,
Everything went downhill.
Yeah, nonstop battle after battle after battle. So let's not do that. So he shoots the little chunk of Earth out, and he's got some awesome technology and some different ways of making it evolve quickly.
Yeah.
Like real quickly.
Like, it's hard to tell how quickly it happens because it's like just a couple panels, but then later on it says months of work. So I don't know if it was months, if it was really quick, but he's doing all this brain power and science power, and I don't know, he's getting tired from all this evolution that he's creating.
Well, building an Earth out of a tiny little piece of rock is a lot of hard work.
Yeah, I guess
you'd be tired too.
Yeah, I would be.
But yeah, so he forms Earth, the rains cool it down. He starts blasting it with these bio rays, which makes the creatures start evolving, and starts off with little like protozoa looking things, and all of a sudden you got apes and cows and dinosaurs in the same panel. But it's happening fast. 1 billion years of evolution all in one panel. So yeah, that would be tiring. So he decides, this is hard work. I'm right at the gates of making everything perfect, and man is about to evolve from these creatures. But first, I'm going to take a little nap.
Just a little napsy. Meanwhile, Warlock is still just chilling, listening to him, observing.
Yeah, now if he was just observing for a month, that's some dang patience right there.
Yeah, but he is in his cocoon, and his cocoon, I guess, makes him stronger as time goes by, maybe?
And he's also stuck inside this asteroid, so...
Yeah.
So he is a captive audience for the High Evolutionary. So let's take a little nap. Nothing can go wrong. Except for, perhaps, Man-Beast in a spaceship stumbling upon this and saying, "Ooh, okay. So just as you sleep, let me go ahead and finish your work for you."
Yeah.
So he decides, this perfect man, these humans that you've created, they just need a little something extra. They just need to pick up sticks and hit each other with them. So let's get these people fighting each other.
Well, he also kills Ram.
Yeah, that wasn't cool. He busts into the little lab there and just shoots him cold.
Yeah, rip Ram. I liked Ram.
Yep. So not cool. But the dude's still sleeping despite his friend getting shot by a laser blaster. He must be pretty tired.
So we get all this violence, cavemen hitting each other with sticks, Jesus on the cross, but It's not a cross, it's a T, I guess.
A much more efficient cross, I thought.
Yeah. We get wars and Vikings and just all of this This one panel looks kind of like human centipede. Um,
Yeah, I'm not sure what's going
I
on with that
didn't
one.
realize that the first time, but yeah, just bad juju. Um, and finally, High Evolutionary wakes up and realizes that Man Beast has destroyed his world, destroyed all his progress. It took him some quick amount of time to do all of that, so he's upset. Um, so High Evolutionary starts to attack Man Beast, and Man Beast has a posse, so there's a lot of bad stuff going on. It's a big old fight. And Warlock's just like, uh-oh, his suit can help, but only so much. I'm gonna go out there and blast some fools. That's what he does. He emerges from his cocoon, speaks his first words that we've heard him speak, and helps High Evolutionary out.
Yeah, speaking of speech, this issue started off, pretty easy to read.
Yeah.
But the further you get into it, the more Shakespearean it gets in its language, and it's very well written, but it gets a little extra. Is that the term I'm looking for?
Yeah.
There's a whole lot of like, hark what light through yonder window breaks. It is the east, and Adam Warlock is the sun. A lot of
Nice.
bespoke and verboten and all kinds of weird speech, but it's entertaining. It's just a little hard to read sometimes.
And especially while they're fighting, it's like, I'm fighting, but also let me monologue my Shakespearean language.
Maybe they're just flexing their intelligence.
True.
So he rips out of his cocoon, and just as he goes to attack the man beast, they all just disappear.
Oh,
They just
yeah.
go poof. They disappear, but I guess they teleported down to counter Earth. But yeah, it does say that it was months of his work, and I didn't know if that was months of his work sitting there evolving the planet. That makes sense.
Or months of his work preparing his asteroid and collecting his Earth shard and stuff.
Yeah, but that makes sense that they were there beaming it with his brain for a month. That would make you tired.
Yeah, so after Man Beast and his posse go down to counter Earth, High Evolutionary is like, well, now I've got to destroy it. I've got to get rid of this. It's not perfect anymore. I need to decimate my counter Earth. And Warlock's
But don't
like,
do that, Daddy.
no. It's like, no, you can't do that. You spent all this time. We can just find Man Beast and we can fix things. And High Evolutionary accepts the idea.
He gets a little teary-eyed because he thinks he's got the son he always wanted now.
Finally found someone he can love and cherish. Now he's going down to counter Earth to chase after a beast man.
Who's apparently stronger than them.
Yeah, I don't know how a beast man can be stronger than a perfect golden human thing.
Right.
But I guess a dog person is.
I think he's also evolved in his absence, because he had some kind of mind rays also that High Evolutionary didn't know about.
Oh.
So we got to protect our son as he gets beamed down to Earth. So how do we protect him?
A green gem.
A green gem. And that always goes in the forehead, right? Gems always go in the forehead.
Always.
And it says it's an emerald, but I think as the story unfolds down the road, it becomes a soul stone.
Oh, really?
Or the soul gem. They call it the soul gem. I don't know if it's related to the soul stone or not. But yeah, so that's where he gets his soul from later on.
That's awfully nice.
Yeah. It's convenient to have those.
It kind of seems like he has a soul already, because he kind of is looking for the good of something, rebelling against his evil makers and then getting High Evolutionary to not kill an Earth full of people.
So maybe the gem just amplifies his soul.
Yeah, he's got a little bit going for him.
That's what we're going with. So they beam him down to Earth, and that's kind of where it ends. So now we see, or Counter Earth. Now we see a Counter Earth with a dude in jeans. So that kind of sets the timeline, even though he's living in the desert. But we got a dude in jeans, so it must be somewhat modern times, evolution-wise. And Adam Warlock is there now. So that's where it ended. So we didn't learn a whole lot about Adam Warlock per se, and don't know the whole rest of his story, but that was 1972, and he's had several miniseries since then. So I think we're going to have to come back in a few episodes and maybe revisit some more little slices of his existence through the MCU or through the Marvel comics.
Yeah, I mean, it's interesting because when we first saw Adam Warlock in, the post-credits scene of Guardians Volume 2, I knew nothing about him. And I thought he was going to be a villain, and I guess he was kind of set up to be a villain, and it didn't exactly turn that. Well, spoilers? I don't know. The movie's been out for a week, more than a week. I don't know, I just wasn't expecting how Adam Warlock turned out to be in the movie, but I guess in the comics he's not really a villain.
He had a lot to do with the Infinity Wars and the Infinity, that whole series of stuff.
Mm-hmm.
And so I think they needed to introduce him, or else you can't really have Infinity Wars without acknowledging his existence. But
okay,
he just came in a different manner probably than how he was used in the comics.
Okay.
Because he didn't really have anything to do with the stones at all, did he?
No, he didn't.
He just had to do with the gold people that played video games.
Right, and he was a gold person, but not as smart as the other gold people. Took him out of his cocoon too early.
Yeah, so what do you think about the comic?
I liked it. I thought it was a little much, like you said, a little extra. There was a lot going on and a lot of monologues, which wasn't the most entertaining to read, but the characters were cool. And I don't know, I'm excited to read more about Adam Warlock. I mean, he's not even called Adam yet. I've got to know where his name comes from.
Yeah, I read a little bit about that, about where he became Adam Warlock. And somewhere along his existence, someone decides that he can't just have one name. He has to have two names, so let's call him Adam Warlock instead of just Warlock. Okay.
First name Adam, second name Warlock. All right, I guess. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so it was a good little read. It was a longer issue.
Like
20, 30 pages of stuff. And a lot of talking, a little bit of action, but I guess important action in the grand scheme of things. I didn't see any walking animal people yet in Counter Earth. So that storyline must change over the years too.
I mean, he started with his animal people and then just went straight up full people. So I don't know.
Cool. So that's like I said, just a quick little episode to feature a comic that we read recently and share that with our audience. So hopefully that was entertaining to you. Hopefully if you want to go pick that up, you can read that same way that we read it in the Marvel Unlimited comic series. Very easy to go find. Yeah, easy to find whatever you're looking for. This podcast is not sponsored by the Marvel Unlimited app, but it could be.
Though we wish we were.
For a very cheap price. Yeah, I think that's going to wrap up this little episode. We'll come back next week with the full crew back in action. We'll get Danny caught up with what she missed. But yeah, any parting words, Amber?
Nope.
All right, so I'll go ahead and thank you again for listening. Check out our socials. Keep up with our YouTube channel. And until next time, peace out and geek out. Thank you for listening to the Family Geekery Podcast. For more information, visit www.familygeekery.com. Don't forget to subscribe at your favorite podcast provider. And until next time, peace out and geek out.